Welcome back to Dark Points, everybody. It's Ron, and we got a big one for you tonight. Yes, it's another FPS binge. Oh boy. Oh. All right, let's start with System Shock, which I mentioned in the last video. Yeah, I posted a, a video with the Get Smart theme playing behind this whole section. Yeah, there are parts to this game that are just ridiculous, and I thought that was perfect. It got like 100 views, though. Anyway, the game is, it's a remaster of the classic, which I never played. The game is beautiful to look at. They really hit it out of the park as far as just making it look good. But kind of like Soul Reaver remasters, it's just kind of just a reskin because it is so hard. It's basically every part of the original game, and I am stuck currently, which sucks because this was one of those games I was really looking forward to, and I got stuck in this boss fight area, and I just can't seem to beat him. And there's no health bar, so that sucks. Maybe that's in the options. I'll have to look at that. But yeah, the problem is when you get into this boss fight or certain areas where there's no health station, you just die. So every time I fail, I die, and I have to go back to my previous save, which is like 10 minutes away from there. And then the other part I'm stuck on, yes, again, it's a big open space station, and there's a million ways to go. And the other part I'm stuck on is this section. I think it's, is it beta or gamma? It's the one that's radiated. And of course, when you get in there, there's no health station, and the radiation from the sector, because it's all poison in there, kills you. So, I'm having issues with the game. Is what I'm saying. It's great. It's amazing. There's a third path, thankfully, because it's a giant space station. There is a third path that I have found, so I'm up in the flight deck area, just kind of exploring that now. But it really was kind of a bummer when I found myself stuck on both those areas and just not able to beat them or understand what to do. Eventually, I'll have to look up a walkthrough, but yeah, bit of a bummer. Still just playing it and kind of stuck. Deep cleansing breath. All right, moving on to Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition. Yes, I have played this many times. I just recently replayed it when I had PlayStation Premium, and man, I fell back in love with it. I want to like kind of knock it a little bit because of how stupid it is and how meat-brained and pig-headed and misogynistic and just kind of stupid, but it's great. It's a great game. It's a top-tier shooter. Possibly one of the best. I hate to say it. No, I guess I don't hate to say it. Because coming back to this, it really was a warm hug, like I always say, and, God, I really just enjoyed myself and revisiting this whole world again. A little shorter than I remember, though. Alright, moving on to Operation Wolf Returns first mission. I'm not sure if this is a remake or remaster, but it is one of those on-rails shooters, a rail shooter from like the 90s when you used to have the light guns in the arcade. And, sometimes these are okay. This one is actually pretty darn good. It's fairly hard, but the cool thing is they give you infinite continues. So it's kind of fun. You can beat the game kind of at any level. Yeah, it's fairly tough. Like I feel like I died almost too much. But the game gets real cool as it goes on. There's unfortunately I think only 6 missions, but they get bigger and bigger, and I thought it was really fun actually. All right, now Gunhead. For so long I thought this said Gun Hero. I don't know why. But yeah, it's okay. It's a rogue-like shooter, so every time you go into the level, it's different than the last time. Yeah, and I like the visual style of it, and I picked this up for $3.99, and we mentioned it in one of the cheap games videos. But I don't know. It's because it's a roguelike. I like this character, by the way. All the characters, and like I said, the world itself is cool. This game is definitely done with love and care. But by the third time you go into one of these big Borg cubes and fight off some dudes and take the shield down and get a couple door keys and then kill the brain, I feel like you've played the game. I don't know. I haven't explored the game beyond like 3 levels, if I'm honest. So maybe there's some boss fights or something, but the roguelike thing turns me off. All right, Fashion Police Squad. Uh, this was another one, kind of like a Gunhead, where I saw the little thing for it, and it was on sale for fairly cheap. I think 7.99, and I was just like, oh my god, I have to have this. This looks amazing, and it actually is amazing. One of the best, I'd say, if you call them boomer shooters, retro. I'll just say retro. It's one of the best retro shooters I think I've played ever. It's annoying, I should say. There's annoying elements to it, but just the weirdness of it, and just look at it. It's so bizarre. Oh, the code name the Flasher. Guess what he does? So yeah, you're the fashion police, and you are like shooting basically fashion victims, and you're not killing them. They just like their clothes change. Oh, also this part, I had to get my friend Josh here to help me. This is a sped up version of like 20 deaths. So this section, and this is near the end of the game, but this is just a parkour section, and it reminds me of some of those just awful sections in Doom Eternal. It was unpleasant. That was the one real unpleasant part of the game. But yeah, as the game goes on, it does get pretty darn difficult. But look at all these different like levels and worlds and just everything. They just nail it with the look. It's as if a Sega Genesis, had the power to run a beautiful shooter, and just the level design is great. Now, the switching back and forth between the multiple weapons really does get old, and that's kind of what makes it so difficult later on in the game, is because all these different characters you're seeing that I'm shooting at, they require different weapons. See, now I have to switch to the gerbil, or the gnome, the gerbil, to get him. So you're switching between weapons constantly, and that does get aggravating at certain points, but great game. All right, moving on to Severed Steel. This was another one, totally unexpected. I think it was $3.99, and I looked at the little game trailer, and I was like, oh, it looks like a ripoff of Super Hot, and at first it kind of is. I don't know if it's the same people, to be honest. So maybe it's not a ripoff, but so when you jump or do a stunt like wall climb or anything like that, time slows down. And then you can kind of like shoot those guys. Also, you have to blast through walls, and you have this laser with limited bullets. It's really interesting. Like the world is destructible. Look at this. But yeah, I kind of adjusted the settings at the end of my gameplay. As you can see here, this is like the second to last level. And I adjusted the settings to the point where I was like always in jump mode and always in slow-mo, which actually made the game really easy and kind of fun to play, but I wouldn't recommend it. Not for the full playthrough. It did get old after a while, but yeah, this game is great. I say play it. If you can find it for any kind of sale, get it. It's better than Super Hot. I would think, Super Hot is an amazing game, but for those people who more like thoughtful shooters that are more action orientated rather than puzzle solving, this would be up your alley, I would think, more so than Super Hot. All right, moving on to Industria, and I made a special little short about this for those of you who love Atomic Heart or those of you who hate Atomic Heart. And me personally, I'm just kind of indifferent to it right now. I'm gonna play it eventually, but I don't know, their attempt at redoing a Bioshock. At least the first hour I played, it didn't quite hit the way I had high hopes for it though. But anyways, Industria, I had no hopes for this game, and I started playing it, and yeah, it's just like Bioshock and Atomic Heart. It's this weird alternate history where AI in Eastern Germany went crazy and developed, and you flash forward to the 90s, and now it's basically taken over all of Berlin. And it's just a really interesting and beautiful world, as you can see. And the detail is great. All these different robots. Some of them do look a lot like the Atomic Heart robots. But yeah, it's clearly a small little project because the one thing I should mention is that it is only 4 hours long. Approximately. I took my time with it, and I really enjoyed it. It felt 4 to 5 hours long for me, but people were saying that they could do the game in like, 2 or 3 hours. I wouldn't really recommend that. It's so pretty. Just look at this. Also, the guns, the gunplay, I don't know, just based on first impressions, is a little better than Atomic Heart. And look at this wonderful, weird dream world you come into. Reminds me of like the Trial. But yeah, it does get really trippy, and as I've said, it almost kind of turns into a walking simulator towards the end. And spoiler alert, I will say this just so you don't hate me later. There's a bit of a cliffhanger. So be aware of all of that, but understand that I thought the shooting in this felt better than Atomic Heart, and I liked this world a lot. Industria, I say buy it, get it. All right, Immortals of Avium. I was also really excited to play this. This was the free game of the month a while back in for the PS Plus or whatever. But I started playing it, and this happened. Every cutscene would turn black, and it would just be the text. So I had to reload the game, which took forever. It's PS5, so it just took so long to actually get into the game. I don't know what happened with that glitch, but this, again, look at this game. It's beautiful. It has all these like fantasy elements just all mashed into it, but I would say part of the problem with this game is it's trying to be a fantasy RPG, but it's also really trying to be like a loyal first-person fun arcadey shooter, and you really can't have both. So it kind of it kind of like dumbifies the game. I know that's not a word. I'm sorry for using it, but yeah, it's really good, but there are some, I don't know, there's just some tonal problems with it, and the God, some of these fights, these guys with the shields, they are the worst. This game is really difficult, even, I would say, on Nova setting. Like, you really need to get into this game and spend time with this game. Like, and speaking of weapons switching, just like in Fashion Police Squad, you have three magics, and if the characters are green, blue, or red, that's the magic that works on them. So sometimes you're in a fight with all three, and you're switching back and forth, and what a pain in the ass. The story is pretty interesting. I am currently at the final boss, so I'm kind of reserved about the final scene and what will happen there. But overall, a beautiful game. Just an interesting mix. It's clear. It's kind of clear why it sort of failed and didn't take off like they were expecting it. I think. I wouldn't call it a failure though. I actually did enjoy the game. I like the game. Okay, now when like turns into love, this is what happens. Yes, basically the main reason I picked up a PlayStation 5 was because I could not get this game on any of the previous gen consoles. So I had to do it. And oh my god, it went on sale for $20 and I was like, yeah, I'm going to regret this later, but I'm going to buy it. And oh my God, this world again, level design is just amazing. But we'll talk about that more later. The fighting is so much fun and such a pleasure to play. I played this whole game through on normal. I didn't have a problem. I wouldn't say normal's too easy. Oh, look at this part. Speaking of violence, RoboCop violence. Yeah, blah. Yeah, isn't that nasty? Oh, and then this guy. Okay, glitches. We also need to talk about. Yeah, just threw him through the wall. And then there's yeah, this happened. Yeah, there was not a lot of it, but enough of it. And then the character modeling, like look at this guy's hair. Why did they make his hair like that? And then this scene too, which is part of a really embarrassing fetch quest. I'm just looking at this and I was just like, why are they doing this? I mean, it's pretty funny, but it's just odd looking. And then yeah, more hair. Just if you look at the details in the hair, it's a little odd. But otherwise, the game is just terrific, nearly perfect for the most part. This mission where you're finding the VHS, I thought really was kind of slow and boring. Again, there are fetch quests once in a while, but yeah, it's a big, open, beautiful city that you can walk through, and it looks great. And like I said, it was challenging, but it wasn't too hard, even on normal. And just the gore and the shooting, it really is awesome because you have the RoboCop powers, and it makes you feel overpowered because you are. So I love it. Check it out. All right, Bright Infinite Memory. This game was, I think, $11 on sale, and I looked up some videos for it, and yeah, they were all saying, the game's basically 2 hours long, but it's really great to look at, and it's kind of a wonderful little what do they call these? Is it a half light? It's like a mini game. Like it's got a full plot and everything, kind of like Industria. Yeah, Industria's like that, where it's got a full plot mostly. Again, this is, sometimes cliffhangery because these are, single projects. They can't totally finish, a big story like, oh, speaking of that, Shadow Warrior, how big and epic that story is. They can't do that, so they're not gonna. But doesn't this look like Shadow Warrior? Speaking of warm fuzzies, I love the look of it. It's pretty darn cool. But again, it is about a 2 hour playthrough. Now, when I say a 2 hour playthrough, for me that means like, honestly, I feel like I played it an hour a night for 6 nights. So, like 6 hours for me, but then, give and take all the times I died, or, I was exploring, or I got stuck somewhere, like here. Speaking of getting stuck, God, this game glitches out. And then the one thing that sucks is you have to go back to the beginning of the level. They're kind of level based. The later on in the game, the save points get really cool. The checkpoints, but at first you just have to do a whole big area again, and that's frustrating. But like that plane scene, look at that. It's just beautiful. And then the gunplay feels just perfect. Every gun is just so much fun to play. And then, of course, yeah, like it's a half light. I don't know if that term is that a legit term, or I just heard one person say it. But look at this. Yeah, you're in a car. There is a full game within this 2 hours of game, really. And like I said, if you're playing it like me, if you're really taking your time with it, and also if you're kind of bad at video games, I played this on the normal difficulty because I had to, I wanted to, and it was totally worth it. So play it, check it out. All right, Toy Titan. Yeah, this is a game. This is a real thing. It's kind of the opposite of a lot of these other kind of cheaper games I've been talking about in this video. It's clearly a small team, and they have a really good idea about playing with your toys. But it's like a base defender game, which I totally didn't expect. And the trailer kind of is very misleading for this game. It shows you shooting the toys in different areas, but it doesn't show you really. It shows glimpses of it, but it doesn't show you just standing around your base and protecting it. So yeah, I don't know. It wasn't cheap enough. Now, if you found this game for $3, I would say get it. But it was about the price of Bright Memory. I think it was 9 or 10 or 11. So a little too much for this game. When it goes on sale for $3, then get it. It's fun. It's charming, but the novelty wears off pretty quickly. All right, and now this is kind of an honorable mention. I wouldn't even call this a first-person shooter, but it kind of is, and you'll see why. But it's Disintegration, which I've mentioned in other videos, and it has this beautiful Mass Effect kind of look quality to it that I can't put my finger on. But most humans now are robots. They're just brains in robot bodies. But the main part of the game is you in this hover bike. So yeah, it is first person. Like this is what you see is just you shooting from the bike. But it kind of sucks because you never get close enough. The fighting it isn't fun. Honestly, I'll just cut to the chase. It just isn't fun. The fighting is not fun. It's boring. It's cool that they were trying to do something different here. Like, you have these commands, you can see me, and I'm giving them to my team members to move up or use special weapons, and that's kind of interesting, but God, maybe, something like that. A lot of those games are the successful versions of that are more top down. But yeah, I don't know. I appreciate that they made it so this way. It's strange. It's completely singular. So you have to appreciate it for that. But at its heart, I thought it was kind of boring. I'm sorry, guys. All right, there you go. That is the big long list of first-person shooters I played recently. Thank you for watching. Dork Points. Goodbye. All right, update time. Immortals of Avium. I got to the second to last boss fight, and I hated it. You have to switch between the weapons. You seem really underpowered. I did not like it. I'm sorry. I stopped right there. Okay. Also, High on Life. Yes, I played it. I should highlight this in its own full video, but despite all the problems and the controversy and the whole crap with Justin Moyland, this game is actually really good and really fun and surprisingly short. There's so much. Look at Space Applebee's. Yeah, you can go to Applebee's and you have a full meal there. Um, yeah, it's despite all that stuff that happened, whatever happened. I don't know the facts if I'm honest, but yeah, this game is so cool. You run into all these interesting characters, and it's when I say it's short, it's not that short. Oh, there's this funny bit with this Care Bear that's been cut in half and won't die, and his guts are hanging out. I hope I don't get demonetized for that, but just all the characters are actually good if you give them time and patience. And there's this weird system in place where you have to talk to people and give them negative or positive responses, and they respond to that. It doesn't affect the ending at all, obviously, but man, just the the game design, all the thought that went into this. Look at this, the visuals, just everything about it. Everything about this game is great, except for the shooting. But before we get to the shooting, let's talk about the story. The story is amazing. You have these guns, you collect them, they all talk to you. One is, of course, Justin Roiland, but then you have oh God, JB Smoove from a Curb Your Enthusiasm. You have a Tim Robbins from I Think You Should Leave. It's so cool. It's just a cool game. Now, what I was saying about shooting is it doesn't feel 100% great. And I don't know if that's what they're going for, because you're shooting these talking guns, or if that's distracting, or what it is. But I just got a PS5, and yeah, the haptic feedback while you're shooting, and then just the sounds and the visuals don't quite mix perfectly. Your guns feel empty. It's like you're playing a single A game or like an indie game sometimes, but again, everything else in this game makes up for that fact. This game is visually amazing, story, humor, just it's so good. I did not want to play it for the longest time because that whole controversy or whatever was going on. And then again, I played Trover Saves the Universe and I was burned out. But look at this. There's an actual full movie. There's multiple, actually, full movies in the game. But this one, you find this secret area and you can watch the guys from Red Letter Media actually comment on the whole game. Also, I'm in the game. Yeah, right there. All right. Thank you for watching. Sorry to make it so long. Dark Points, goodbye.